Hey, Susie Moman, tell them.
We are basically done.
Yeah, we're done with all the construction. Woohoo! We did it. Yay! We can't believe it. Come out here and it's hard to believe. But I'll talk about what's left to be done. But we are getting ready for a trip. She's not going to be on camera very long because she's getting packed and ready to go. Thanks for watching. So the construction is done, and it's now just a bunch of tweaking. What kind of things do you have left before we leave on our trip in 2 days?
You know what? Actually, the main thing is to get all the stuff out and see if it's going to fit in here.
Yeah.
But little things.
Right.
Decorations.
Decoration, and then just making sure to have things secure, like a drawer.
That won't slide open when you turn the corner.
A couple doors, securing jerry cans, and the microwave and coffee pot. Just some simple things like that. Susie just put on the car seats that I got, car seat covers. They're not the ones that she wants, but
They'll do.
They'll do for this trip, but the ones I want were going to take too long, so I got a cheap set just to get us through. There's a lot of blankets here because Susie's cold-natured, so we're going to make sure that she's going to be warm. We're going to have shore power. Out of the 8 or 9 nights, there'll only be 2 or 3 at the most where we don't have shore power. No problem, so I don't have to bring all 5 of my Ecoflows. I'll talk about that in a bit.
And I have a small electric blanket that plugs in to the...
Right, to
one
of the batteries.
Yeah.
One of the Ecoflows.
Whatever that's called.
Yeah. And she
does the electric.
She came out and said, "Are we taking all of these?" I go, "Not on this trip. It's not really necessary." So, just some tweaking, and I'm proud of you. And everyone sees it. They just love the shiplap, and she did that. And so what she did was she added a board, the same size board as the countertop, and she put that up on the wall, polyurethane, and it kind of defines the area.
Defines the kitchen.
I wasn't on board with that a couple weeks ago, but then
on board, get it? It's a board.
Went there, and but I think I like it. She's gonna put some wire baskets, so I agree with her decorating ideas. So you got a lot of packing, so let's just go and let me film some videos.
Yeah.
All right. So I mentioned earlier, Susie, we went back and got another board like this, and they cost like $31, and we picked out the one we like best. And she polyurethaned it. Right now she's got 2 screws going into the shiplap. I think we're going to put 2 more. Initially we were talking about gluing it, but we thought that's going to destroy the shiplap. And if we ever decide we want to change, we can always fill in a screw hole, but we don't want to mess that all up. So she's got wire baskets and some things. We are not going to over decorate. So like I said, we've got Velcro right now that holds this most of the time. But we're looking at a couple different ways of doing this, and that may change. You may notice this blowing around. Susie got some light blocker curtains, and yeah, I actually am. Do you want to tell them about this? Why you did this, real quick?
They're blackout.
Blackout. That's it.
Curtains, and they look really cool. We got quilted covers for the windows that keep the blackout light.
And they're gray.
Well, that block out light, but it's kind of it takes a while to put them up, and they were a pain. I thought, well, how about if we just do this? And I got magnets in
They're
here.
not a pain. It's just sometimes what you mean is if we're just stopping and we're someplace and it's really hot at that rest area or that park, and we just want to keep the heat up front or the cold.
Yeah, but this is faster.
Yeah, it's faster.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But
there we go.
What's my point? So I screwed in these little hooks. And you can take them down easily.
Right.
And then also, if you want it out of the way, you can just do this. But it keeps the heat up here.
Right. Some people have like a curtain, like in a hospital kind of thing. And so we didn't want that there all the time. So I don't think I'm going to want these. I think I'm going to want them folded and just get them out of the way. So if we have windows open, they're not blowing all over the place. But I plugged in the refrigerator for actually the first time. And it's on shore power. And right now it's no sound because the pressure's not running. It's pretty quiet. And so she's going to, like that.
Here's a paper towel holder.
There we go.
And another basket. Who knows what's going to go there.
Yeah. Pretty nice and simple. Yeah. That's a great idea with this. And she's actually going to get some of this again and use it to make the covers for the little mattresses that fit in between.
And they're going to be like the backing of a couch.
Back of the couch. Right. So here is our sink. I'm really glad. I just did not want the look of the Julka faucet. That's really meant more outdoorsy kind of thing. So we got this nice sink and the faucet, and it pulls out. And underneath there, I will have the Julka, the 12-volt pump, and it plugs into the panel on the front, and it just looks so nice. It really finishes that off. Really glad we did that. So the last task was to get the faucet going, and we've done that. So I got these screens, and they're really rock solid with this. They're louvered, and Susie will show you how, because I was just not getting it.
Well, you have to. It has a
slot,
but also you have to put the window way down. Get it in the slot, and then as you put the window up, it goes in the slot. Like so.
I think that's a lot more secure than the plastic thing we had before.
Yeah, the window has to be way down.
Yeah, and work its way up. Thank you for figuring that out. And I know I've mentioned it before, but I really am glad that we went with this vinyl, this perforated vinyl. I ordered from Amazon, and a friend of mine put it on, and it really is going to help with the solar effect, so it won't turn this into a greenhouse. And you do get some privacy. You know, if you just pull into a rest area, you really can't see in. At night, of course, it's lit up, but we're going to have the covers on there. But I just like the look of it. So I think this is a good investment. I think I spent $50, and I actually got a roll that was enough to do these windows twice, so you could get a smaller amount. But works great. I think it looks nice. Well, I'm sure some of you will be interested on a report on our first trip, how our plan for power worked out. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a 8 or 9 day trip, and except for 2 nights, maybe 3, and depending on when we go back, if we find a harvest host or to go to a Cracker Barrel, then we might just need our batteries to use. But we'll be on shore power most of the time, so I can keep my Ecoflow lithiums charged up, and we have a plethora of them thanks to Ecoflow being such a major corporate partner. And as I mentioned in other videos, we did a trip out west last year in our new Runaway with just one Delta, and we did fine. We really did. We were able to keep it charged up, and it did everything we needed. We're going to run more things, but we have 2 Deltas now. The River Pro, that's 1,300 watts each. This is the River Pro, which is 720, and then it has a smart battery that goes with it, a 720, and then the River Max, which is 576 with extra battery attached to the bottom. We don't need all these on this trip. There'll be some trips I'm taking them all, but I'm thinking I definitely have to have at least one Delta so that I can run, when we're offshore power, when I can run the coffee pot and the microwave. We may grab an induction plate before we go. I don't think we're going to, are we, Susie? I don't know that we need it on this trip, no. but we could grab one if we needed to. But I think we'll be fine because we do things, I keep saying, we don't camp to eat. We camp to see nature, take pictures, hike, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take at least one. I may take 2 Deltas, and then I'm going to take one of the smaller form factor. It would make sense to bring the River Pro, which is 720 watts compared to the 576. It's the same size. And I'm just thinking if I want to have one that's smaller that I'm taking up front for whatever reason, or up on the roof maybe, up on the deck. So we are fine, and when we are on shore power, I don't use any of these except I charge them up. And as you know, I've got outlets here in the box on this side, up there, and I added a new one right here. And I couldn't find my tester, but I did find it. And these are cheap. Some people use a voltmeter. I don't think I'm smart enough. This is easier. I plug these in. 2 amber lights come on. Everything is good. So I've tested everything, but I knew it would be fine. But it's always good to test everything. So when we are on shore power, I had a smaller unit, but it just gave up on me after a year or so. So I got a bigger. It's a Schumacher. It's 15 amp. And I know what some are thinking, are you really going to be able to run everything with the lithiums plugged into the cigarette port? And I think we will without any problem. And sometimes a couple of these things don't use a lot of power, and so you almost have to run something else, or they've got like a safety feature on almost all lithiums that if so many hours and you're not drawing that much, it'll stop the DC output. That's not going to be a problem. What if the fan went off? So I'll turn it back. If it wakes us up, I'll turn it on if we get hot, which it's not going to be an issue. But I could also run things through the AC some things that are actually 12 volt with an adapter. So anyway, this is how we'll have this plugged into an outlet, and then the 12 volt system will plug in here. So this is, I think the output of the Ecoflow, if I'm not thinking right, I think it's 10 amp, and I forget what the output of your car is, because that's different for every vehicle. Some people put a big inverter and hardwire, and I'm not going to do that. I don't even see me charging this while driving unless I put a solar panel up there on a future trip. So anyway, that's how we're going to be going with our shore power, and you'll be hearing about it as we film during the trip. But we can run it all. Thanks, Ecoflow. I just wanted to talk about our Julka system because I'm using it in a different way. They were kind of surprised when I first contacted them, because most people that, as I've mentioned before, when they get the Julka system, they start with that hot tap, the instant hot water, and they're taking showers out, you know, way out back or wherever you are, and they're great. That's what the system is designed for. But I looked at their off-grid kit, and I wanted the 12-volt pump and all the accessories that go with it. And so the shower head and the kitchen faucet, really, they're more, you know, functional. They're not meant to be pretty. And so they even have a sink, and you stick these in, and they work great. You know, you don't have to worry about keeping them all nice and shiny and all that. So that's why I decided to go with a nicer faucet up here. It just looks better. And so this 12 volt, excuse me, this 12 volt pump is going to be, I'm just going to set it in there. We're going to secure it, but I really don't want to mount it because I want to be able to take it out if we need to. And so we've got those longer hoses that we can plug in and shower ourselves off, wash off muddy legs or whatever. And then as far as power is concerned, I contacted them, and just to be sure, this is a 2.1 millimeter barrel plug, and I'm going to either buy another one from them, or there's some generic ones on Amazon, but I think I'd rather have one from them just to be sure. And what I'm going to do is, that way I'll have one of these so I can bring this pump out here and power it. And I can just plug it into my 12 volt port right here, or into one of the Ecoflow batteries and just take it out here. But then I want the other one, what I want to do is this plugs into the bottom here, turn it on, self-primes, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these and cut the wire and take the positive and negative, and I'm going to wire it to spade connectors, and I'm going to hook it up to number 4 here. And number 4, I've already got it labeled for the water pump. And so right now, if I want to do stuff, I'll just plug this in. Inside here, actually, is another 12 volt port there, I think I mentioned. But I've got that inside so that I don't have to have a cord running around the outside. So there's a 12 volt plug that this goes into. But what I want to do is cut this spade connectors, and I'll just directly hardwire it into this switch here. So that way I can plug it into the pump in there, come out here, and use a cord like this. It's all intact, and run it that way. So you know, it's nothing against that sink. I just want to show you that if you go with this system, you can still put in a standard faucet, whatever you want to use, and keep working with the Julka pump. So I'm excited, and so maybe a little different Julka than most people do, but there may be other people that might find this an interesting solution to their water needs, and it's going to work great for us. Thanks, Julka. Well, one thing I wanted for sure was I really wanted Sirius XM. We were used to having it in Susie's car, so I just bought an inexpensive, I think this was, what, $60 or something? Real small unit with a color screen, but it's actually got more power than the one that's built into our Dodge Grand Caravan. So I just bought this simple unit, and for this trip, I don't want to go in and try to wire the antenna up on the roof. Even though they say don't, I threw it in the window and it works just fine. And then we'll power it from the 12 volt cigarette port on the front, and that'll work fine. And I think they even make a remote for it, but it's right there. I just can push the buttons. So excited to get this. I got it started yesterday, and of course they always try to get you to spend, you know, big bucks and have every channel. And we just do the select, and it's like $5 a month, and so you can always get it at that price. So this will just be a nice little addition, and we just plug it into the auxiliary so it comes through the speakers, and it'd just be nice because a lot of places we're at, you're not going to get much of a radio signal. So we've got our favorites, and it's going to be pretty handy and not really costing that much. Well, I'm going to wind up the video here. We're going to be gone for a while, so it'll probably be a week and a half or two before I do the next video. but we'll be pumping out several, as I mentioned earlier, talking about the build and how this is going to all work. And we're excited just to see how everything that we put into this matches what our expectations are. So if you're on Instagram, you could look up Charles Moman, and I will be posting there during our trip every single day. So we are excited. We need to get busy with the packing and the last little tweaks. And thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.